Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for being here. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. During the summer, most of us know in order to enjoy nature, trees, even some water, we have to go outside. But in West Bloomfield, you go inside to the Planterra Conservatory. The internationally recognized venue draws visitors from around the world for its stunning plant displays, perfect for homes, offices, and unforgettable local celebrations. I actually stopped by the venue to take a closer look.
Well, every element of the architecture of the conservatory, from the gabion stone archway to the koi ponds, the custom pavers, and the European trusses, they all transport couples to a unique place in time that is distinct to Planterra and different from other event spaces in the region.
Backed by decades of horticultural expertise, the Pliska family and their team ensure every detail reflects their mission, creating unforgettable experiences rooted in nature right here in West Bloomfield.
You know, the Pliska family has been part of the community for over 40 years out of this property. You know, we are a community that's racially, ethnically diverse. We're an inclusive company. It's important to us. Also, the family has partnered with many cultural and kind of community organizations over the years.
As an establishment with a well-known reputation, Creative Director and Vice President David DiVincenzo tells us more about how Planterra accommodates guests from near and far.
About 90% of our couples have guests coming into town from someplace. Many couples were raised here. Now they're kind of coming back home for weddings. Some are from the Midwest with no connection to Detroit other than us. So we need venues for hotels. We kind of connect them with wedding vendors. So we're definitely kind of extending our business into local communities, supporting businesses. 90% are local. About 2/3 are either women-owned or person of color-owned that we partner with.
Inside, you're surrounded by rare botanicals, serene koi ponds, and a design that honors nature while elevating every celebration. Sol Maria Gray, event operations specialist, further elaborates on what makes the conservatory unlike any other venue.
The conservatory is unlike any other venue in the Midwest. And while we are a venue, we're also a full service team of designers, stylists, culinary artisans, and event experts. From florals and bespoke decor to distinctive menu and signature cocktails, we curate every element with precision and artistry. Our process is seamless, allowing couples to be fully immersed in every moment, stress-free and present.
Watching it on Civic Center TV does it no justice. You have to pay it a visit yourself. Beautiful environment and great place to host different events as well. If you want to find out more information, go directly to their website, Planterra.com. It's Planterra.com for more. Toonsies is a musical education program for kids founded during the pandemic, bringing music education to young children through classes, workshops, and performances. Jessie Poulter is actually a West Bloomfield native who created Toonsies, and she actually joined us recently on The Splash to tell us a little bit more about the program. Jessie, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Really happy to be getting into this. Really love talking about music and great programs like this. So talk about a bit of your influences. How has growing up in West Bloomfield influenced your musical journey and your career choices?
So I grew up in a very musical household, which naturally just being exposed to a wide array of music from a really young age. I was like a sponge, just trying to listen and explore and discover everything. And then I would say getting involved in all sorts of musical theater, community theater. I went to at a middle school, which I believe is no longer. And I was involved in the specialty performing arts programs there. And then ultimately being close to Detroit. I grew up really when I came of age was going downtown, performing in the jazz clubs, performing with the real deal Detroit musicians. So definitely West Bloomfield influence and absolutely undeniably and so gratefully Detroit.
Awesome. I mean, absolutely. Growing up near a city like Detroit, you have access to so much incredible music and so many great influences. And it's awesome to see just what you've been able to take that knowledge and be able to do, because you did create Tunesies. And how do you see that program benefiting children and families in Greater West Bloomfield?
So I started Coonsies when I was living in Los Angeles, which is where I lived for 12 years. And it was during the pandemic when gigs were canceled. My touring had come to a halt. I really sort of need to figure out a way to not only keep my vocal mechanism warm, but also just like as a creative, I'm constantly itching to create. My best friend had just had a baby and she asked if I would sing to her baby and her baby's pop, which I wasn't familiar with at the time. And I couldn't think of a reason that I should say no. So I showed up and it was really this aha moment. I just realized that the children's music lane was sort of a wide open creative lane. All of the songs that parents wanted to sing, caregivers wanted to sing with their little ones, the same songs that I sang when I was a child, that parents sang, Wheels on the Bus and Itsy Bitsy Spider as a composer and somebody that grew up studying. I'm a jazz vocalist and a composer, and I really grew up studying the Great American Songbook. So when somebody says standards, that is a very familiar term for me. And I said, who's really updating these, children's standards? And so I was super inspired to, and I'm not only inspired, but like I felt very much a responsibility to sort of nurture this wide open lane. And then when I had my own child, I wanted to create the music experience that I would want my child to have. So fast forward, I am now living back in Detroit. And I have brought my program, which I've been working on and building curriculum for since 2020. I brought it here, and I am so grateful to be teaching pretty much 6 days a week, sometimes 3 times a day, all over Detroit, Metro Detroit, various age groups. And it feels to me like a responsibility, like a calling, but like very organic and inspired. I get such joy having performed for audiences all over the world. It is so joyful to be around human beings at their earliest musical experiences and to be able to experience that through them. Thank you.
Wow, that is all incredible to hear. I love hearing about those aha moments because sometimes they come at the most unexpected of times, and it's great to see how you've been able to take advantage of that. And like I said, you've got some great stuff in the works. You've got an album that's going to be coming out very, very soon, and you've got something called the Jazz ABCs, one of those songs on the album. How does songs like that introduce kids to jazz? And what impact do you hope it has on early childhood music education?
This album that I recorded was recorded in New Orleans, and I really wanted New Orleans spirit to be all over the music. I worked with unbelievable musicians, some of my heroes, and I was afforded the opportunity to record this album through a grant from an organization called South Arts Grant Organization. And I knew that I wanted to incorporate a song that was sort of bridging all of the different influences that have made me the artist that I am. So people still actually, I think one of the number one children's songs is the ABC song, the alphabet song. And it really hasn't been updated. It's been around for centuries. And I was driving to teach one day and it hit me just like a ton of bricks. The song pretty much fell out of me. I grabbed my phone to record it, and in full, there's actually a video clip that is on my Instagram and my social media of me just like being the conduit of writing the jazz ABCs, and then recording it with this masterful jazz studio band in New Orleans. It's extremely special. I really think that we captured not only the fundamentals of jazz from like a theoretical standpoint, but also from an execution of the musician's playing standpoint. That it's a top-notch band. One of my favorite saxophonists of all time, Joel Prom, played on it. It just so happened that he was on tour in New Orleans and he took a solo. So you're exposing children to improvisation and really all of the instrumentation, orchestration of a jazz group. And these are sounds that are really palatable for little kids, but it's not as common as you would think. So my hope is that kids learn their ABCs through alliterated jazz fundamentals, which is what this song is, while being exposed to like the very authentic jazz.
Awesome. And again, working in an environment like New Orleans, where jazz is in their blood. I mean, that's got to be incredible. And I know you touched on it a little bit, but what was it like being in that environment, and how do you feel that it helped to shape that project?
I think it completely shaped the project. It was very much this serendipitous week of what I believe is capturing lightning in a bottle. Everything just kind of worked out. Even the things that like didn't feel like they were working out in the moment all happened for a reason. And the playful, improvisational, joyful essence of the city of New Orleans is all over this music from start to finish. And that is really the language of children is play. And that's really the language, music is the language of tunesies, but it's a play-based method. So I felt like we completely accomplished and all the pieces just sort of fell into place. So I'm so grateful for that. I really felt like we accomplished what we set out to do and more. And it was a wonderful start finish creative experience.
For those just joining us right now on The Splash, we have singer-songwriter Jessie Palter joining us right now to talk about her many programs that she's doing, and she's influenced by the great work in New Orleans and the Detroit music scene to benefit for her music program Tunesies and her original compositions. In fact, you also, along with the work you do for kids, you also released an album called Nothing Standard, a deeply personal jazz album featuring your own compositions. What was the process in returning to your jazz roots for an album like Nothing Standard?
So I think for a while when I was living in Los Angeles, I just had the desire to explore whatever sort of naturally kind of creatively inspired me. I don't really think of music in terms of genre, but it's a little different with jazz because it's the language that I studied. I went to school for jazz. I was at University of Michigan School of Music as the sole vocal jazz major for my year. And I had gotten away from it a little bit. I was working with a record label and I was releasing stuff in a singer-songwriter lane, which was also very deep personal to me. But when I parted ways with the record label and started reclaiming who I am as an artist, as an independent artist, it was integral to me for that process to also honor my roots as a jazz vocalist. And I had worked with the musicians on that album. I collaborated on the compositions with a longtime collaborator, Michael Jellick, who was my music director for many years, and pianist, and also a bit of a mentor, a teacher. I learned a ton about music and harmony through working with Mike. And it was important to really honor all of the work that we had together. So I released that album, I think, in 2022, and it ended up just really sort of hit off more than I could have anticipated, which I'm so grateful for, and was just really a reminder to like honor who you are as an artist and really trust your own artistic integrity.
Well, happy to hear about all of the success that came from this incredible album. And Jessie, I do want to ask, as you've hopped around quite a bit, you've been in Los Angeles, you've been in New Orleans, now that you're back here in Detroit, how do you see yourself continuing to contribute to the local music scene?
I think being a Detroit musician is so important to who I am as an artist. So no matter where I go, no matter where I've been as a performer, people always say, "Oh, where do you learn to sing with such soul?" And the answer is always Detroit. It's Detroit, and it's the musicians that I grew up with, and the teachers that I had that really shaped me, and the experiences in the bandstand that I had that shaped me. Now that I'm back here and really nurturing, who I am as an artist and all of the many facets, I never want to hinder that very innate part of me that is a Detroit musician, which I don't think I ever did hinder, but I just really want to like shine a light on all of the different facets of who I am. And again, feeling a tremendous responsibility to really nurture the future generations, specifically with this Tunesies project. So I am all around Detroit and Metro Detroit, working with kids and really trying to sort of share my passion and my joy and all the tools that I've learned as an artist to help the future generation explore them, who they are creatively, and foster a love of music within them.
Well, it's amazing to hear of everything that you're doing, Jessie. One more quick question before we let you go. How can the West Bloomfield community support your work with Tunesies and your larger musical projects?
Thank you for asking. I am so grateful for the hometown support. I have a website, Tunesies, TUNEZIES.com. And I post all about my classes and my method. People can register through there. I'm also on all the social media platforms. So Instagram, /Tunesies, and Facebook, /Tunesies. And I am now on all the digital streaming platforms with this music as we release song after song every 6 weeks. We're releasing a new single. So Jazz ABC is out, and the next single coming out March 15th. So people can look online at their favorite digital streaming platform, YouTube included, because it is not only an auditory album, it's also a visual album. And so there's an animation for every single song. People can also listen and watch on YouTube at Tunesies, and search on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music and Deezer and Tidal under Tunesies as well. And on the website as well, there's also an email address to contact me. And this has been just built from, it's been built for the community. It's really like me wanting to be of service with all the tools that I use as a musician and as a lifelong creative professional. So I really love hearing from everybody and getting feedback and just hearing what people want, what they need. It's been integral to building this community.
Well, we can't wait to see what's to come next with your incredible music journey. Jessie, thank you so much for joining us today on The Splash Live.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great information, great resource, just kind of reinventing ABC songs and things that we all kind of grew up with. You can find out more about Tunesies and how it can help your young child avoid this summer slump. Visit the website, tunesies.com. That's TUNEZIES.com. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce hosts the Key to the Township Awards annually to recognize outstanding individuals and organizations in West Bloomfield. These awards celebrate contributions to the community, leadership, and business excellence. To tell us a little bit more about the awards is Executive Director for the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. We have Suzanne Levine joining us on The Splash. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. How are you today, Kevin?
Doing just great, especially now that I have you here. Just want to inquire a little bit about this event. Just talk about it, because I'm very, very interested. Just explain the significance of the Key to the Township Awards for our community.
But we used to have an annual Key to the Township Awards event prior to COVID. It was great. It was a great way for the community to honor all the people in our community. And so we send out a nomination form, and it's based on not only the criteria on the number of nominations they received, but basically how they've impacted the community. So we're so excited to bring it back. And it'll be this year at Wabi Country Club. And again, we have our fabulous Charlie Langton as the MC, and if you've seen him, he's a lot of fun. So it should be a fabulous event, and these are really great award winners this year. But this year especially, I think people were excited to have this again, and so I'm excited to host this.
Yes, I'm excited as well, watching some of the clips on Civic Center TV from the recent events as well. So can we just go back a little bit? Tell us a little bit about the history of the event and how it has evolved over the past 17 years.
Well, originally they had them before I was even in the chamber as a way to just honor people in our community, because they felt there's so many unsung heroes that deserve to be recognized. So they were kind of modest events. And then when I kind of took over, I like to do things in a big splash, as they say. So I tried to reinvent it and make it where we'd have a local TV personality. We have a raffle. We have beautiful awards. They get a couple minutes to, give a speech. And so, and then we had Charlie Langton, who actually is the most fun MC that we've had. And we're going to do some interesting twists this year. But we have really, really great, people. And I think everyone should think about attending, because this is a great way to show support for people in our community that really have impacted, either financially, physically, emotionally. I just think it's really a great way to honor them.
Yeah, I would agree too. I see people around the area who pick up trash, who volunteer their times and see different people at different events. And it's not often or at all, in most cases, where people who are citizens or residents of a community get recognized for some of the work that they do, cleaning up or doing stuff that no one asked them to do. But for you, the Chamber of Commerce and the community to come together, create this for that recognition, I think it speaks volumes. Now, real quick, for anyone who may be aspiring to be one of these nominees, what criteria is used to select the award recipients?
Well, basically, they just have to work, live, or play in West Bloomfield. So it's pretty broad. And then they have usually someone else submits it for them and explains why they deserve to be honored. It's in 5 different categories: leadership, business, young entrepreneur, and I think there's leadership, business, young entrepreneur, and health and wellness. And then I actually get to pick a chamber member of the year. This is someone who supports me and supports the chamber and goes above and beyond. And this year we're so happy. Kay Fawcett is our treasurer at the chamber. And people don't realize, but the board is not paid. So for her to do this, especially because she is an accountant, and you can imagine during those months with all the tax issues, she's pretty busy, but she still maintains a great way to make sure that I'm doing my job and that the chamber stays solvent.
Good. That further just explains how people are so committed to things like this, events like this that recognize other residents that help our community just be great overall. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, Executive Director for the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, Suzanne Levine, talking about the Key to the Township Awards that'll be coming up soon, just recognizing local residents and all the efforts and work that they've done as well. Are you able to tell us a little bit about some of the people who will be honored at this event, or is that a secret?
No, we revealed it. Okay. Our business leader of the year is Joe Barbat. He is, I believe he's the CEO and president of Detroit, Prime Concepts Detroit. And he's amazing. He owns most of the fabulous restaurants in our area. He's committed to making sure that we are upscale, like Prime 29, Nara, He owns Wabi Country Club. He owns Aurora and then Aurora on the Lake. They just purchased in Commerce. And he's just a really generous, fabulous human being, and we're so happy to honor him because he's one of those unsung heroes too. He just wants to invest in our community, which is so important.
Yeah.
It's important for our schools and our community, but he also, you can see that the parking lots are full, so they do a great job of making sure that we are well fed, and it's a great place to celebrate, parties or just, have a fabulous meal. So we're really thrilled. And he's part of the Chaldean community, which I love the fact our chamber is really committed now to working hand in hand with them. I think it's important. I've explained to other people that there really is no, you can't be worried about competition. I can't be worried about what other chambers are doing. I can only offer the best that we can possibly offer, and every chamber offers something else. But the Chaldean community is a very present here. And so I think it's really important. They've reached out to me. We do a lot of collaboration, but I'm really happy to honor someone from their community that has done so much.
Oh, it sounds well deserved as well for everything that they've done, and I love that you all are collaborating with the Chaldean Community Center as well. So speaks volumes. Great work as well. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I saw that the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce's mission basically just talks about bringing business and community together in some type of way. How do you feel like this event aligns with that mission?
I think it's great because if you look at the the award winners, it's a very diverse group. We have Shana Johnson from, she's the president, and now she's the regional president of West of Henry Ford, system, and she is a phenomenal leader. I mean, Henry Ford is the West Bloomfield is the largest employer in our area and a really important supporter of the chamber and the community. So we're really excited. So the way that we do that is if you can find a diverse group of people to honor, you are bringing people that maybe didn't have an opportunity to meet a Joe Barbat. Maybe they have an idea that they can pitch to him, or Shana Johnson talk about some of the, health and wellness issues. So I'm really excited because I think that the best way to bring the community and business together is to host as many events that is open to the public. Anyone attend. There is a fee, but it's just a great networking event, and it's a casual atmosphere and a fun one, especially since, as I say, Charlie Langton brings a certain dash of spice. You never know. But that adds to the excitement of the event.
Man, it sounds so great as well. And I want to touch on something that you just recently spoke on. This event is open to the public, although we are recognizing, like you said, residents and business owners and organizations who made an impact. I want you to just talk about, because this is open to the public, why should just a general resident of Greater West Bloomfield community attend or support events like this?
The reason is that we really need these business owners and these organizations to be vibrant, to support community. It's not just about the chamber. It's about our community. The money that they pay goes towards our Parks and Rec and our library, our police, our fire department. It's our roads, everything. So I think it's really important. And for them, it's a great way to maybe get in touch with, we're going to have, I believe, Senator Bayer, Representative Noah Arbet. We have some officials there. So it's a great way for them to get to meet these people that they might not ordinarily get to meet. And perhaps, tell them about an issue or find out a way that they can contact them.
Yeah, no, that's very well said, as a matter of fact. Not too many people will get the opportunity to meet their local state representative and be able to have a one-on-one with them as well. So this gives them that opportunity to speak to them and other people in the area who are making great impacts to our community. Now, I do want to ask you, since this does take the effort of the community, putting events like this together, how can individuals, organizations, or businesses get involved or sponsor events like this or future chamber events?
Well, that's a great question, and thank you, Kevin. They just have to contact me at the chamber at either wbloomfieldchamber@gmail.com, 248-626-3636. They can even contact me if they have another issue. I'm very great at sort of trying to problem solve, even if they're not a chamber member. I cannot begin to tell you how many people call me about different issues, and I direct them to the correct contact or resource. People seem to confuse a chamber with the government, and most local chambers are nonprofits. We are not associated with the government, but we certainly are connected to them.
Right.
We have their ear and they have ours, and they're very responsive. The current administration at the township is very responsive to the needs of the community. So they're always willing to listen, especially to legitimate concerns, because we want our community to thrive. And really be the best that we can. We are a jewel in Oakland County between our lakes and our library and our police and fire department and our parks and rec. We have so many things to offer here. So it's really important that they stay committed and let their voice be heard. And I'm happy to do that. But I am the voice of business. So I love, being a business matchmaker and trying to figure out how to help our businesses in our area thrive and survive. That's my mission.
I love that, Suzanne. The voice of business. That's my new title for you. I love that. That sounds great. And we appreciate all the information that you provided today. Appreciate you for even hosting and putting this event on. Any additional information you want to let us or our audience know before we let you go?
I just think it's really a fabulous event to attend. And we're going to have a little raffle at the end, which is always fun. And as I say, Charlie, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth, but it'll be fun. It will be a fun, great event to honor people in our community that deserve it. And just on a side note, our next big event is going to be our golf outing.
Okay.
It's going to be September 30th. I don't play golf. But I will be riding around in the cart to make sure everyone is well hydrated and having fun. And it's going to be at Twin Beach Country Club. You can also go to our website, westbloomfieldchamber.com, to find out all the latest and greatest events, because we have a lot of them every month.
I'm the same way when it comes to golf, Suzanne. I have some clubs, but I am not that good. So you probably have the most fun job riding on the golf carts. I would give you that.
Come and join me. You'll take your camera and we'll go around.
Yeah. There you go. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, your information. Once again, Executive Director for the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, Suzanne Levine. We appreciate you.
Thank you again, Kevin. Have a great week.
Love that. Once again, you want to find out more information, go directly to their website so you can find out everything regarding that. westbloomfieldchamber.com for more on that Key to the Township Awards. Plenty of other things going on in our local area that you may want to be a part of that can actually be very beneficial. We'll talk about that coming up. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Bringing you stories and memories from Sylvan Lake. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. ViewFest 2025 is hosted by Words of Hope for Life, and it is the nation's largest mental health and prevention festival of its kind. It will be returning to the Detroit Zoo on July 13th for a day of connection, education, and empowerment. With me on the Splash Live is Words of Hope for Life Board President Glenn Schwartz and Board Member Sue Dumond. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. This is a very interesting event, so let's break this down. I want to ask both of you, well, starting with you, Glenn. This event, ViewFest, I believe it's the 5th annual, and it's the largest mental health experience in the U.S. What does this milestone mean to you and your team?
You know, the event, this is the 5th year, started in 2021 locally at Walled Lake Central High School was our first year. And what started as really kind of just a thought about how we can bring community together has really turned into something that is astronomical. I mean, the amount of pride that we have for being able to conduct this activity, this event, is just, it's overwhelming to us. This year, we have over 300 sponsors and community organizations participating in the event, and over 4,200 people registered to participate in the festival, which is just absolutely phenomenal.
Wow. 300 sponsors, over 4,000 attendees registered. That is phenomenal. Okay, we're looking at a very big event. And with that being said, Sue, just inquiring with you, the theme, Live in the Moment, what inspired this theme, and how do you feel like it's going to shape the overall experience?
Well, Live in the Moment, the reason we selected that for this year is to really bring people back to just being present. So what you're finding out in the world today, that people are always thinking about the future or the past and not really enjoying what's happening right in front of them. So to highlight that, we have a special exhibit with 5 tents representing the senses, each one of our senses, to really experience and learn how to take that and just be present with smell, touch, sight, hearing, taste. And so that's a very special exhibit that we're putting on this year, and to really highlight the theme. We have an additional theme that we wanted to talk to you about today, and that is No Limits, No Labels. And it's a really spectacular exhibit where we're highlighting people from all different cultures, nationalities, race, age, young, old, male, female, and it's their photo on huge posters, and they're answering a mental health question. And it's really to highlight that mental health affects everyone. And it's just so that you don't have a stigma behind it. And it's going to be pretty powerful. We probably have over 70 faces of people that answered these questions from all over the community, from all different aspects, all different professional positions to children. And it's really spectacular.
Oh, I'm getting more and more impressed as we're giving out this information. I'm loving that. So continuing with you as well, we're looking at fun, we're looking at resources, we're looking at strategies from professionals, we're looking at, other different people expressing themselves. It's a lot going on. So what balance do you aim to achieve between both entertainment and the mental health education?
Well, first of all, when you enter into this festival, I just want to say you're going to be entering in what we call Banner Row. And it's banner after banner after banner of positive messaging. And you can't help but, as soon as you walk in, feel that you're part of a community, that you're not standing out alone. And you walk in and you immediately have a smile on your face. And it is a festival where there are a lot of mental health resources, prevention resources available. But it's more of a festival, and that is something that you have access to. But every one of our sponsors that are there, they're there to engage with the community, to have activities with the families, and to also be there as a point of contact. So it is a wonderful mix of activities for all ages, whether you're a child or an adult, along with positivity, inclusivity, and just a lot of fun.
I love that. I love that. Now, I got to go back to Glenn on this, because if I'm not mistaken, Glenn, you mentioned that you all started this in 2021 in Walled Lake at the high school or something, if I'm not mistaken, but now we're at the Detroit Zoo. Let's talk about that. How do you feel like choosing the Detroit Zoo as the venue actually enhances the festival's mission?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, we were presented an opportunity years ago to be able to have a festival and walk at the Detroit Zoo, something we absolutely could not turn down, predominantly because it represents the Tri-County. So when you talk about Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, we have everybody represented. We have officials from each of the communities coming, but it really gives us a much broader audience and allows us to make a larger impact. But what's really interesting is the event has grown so big that we're bringing in sponsors and people far away. I mean, outside of the state, up north, throughout. So it's just it's a great opportunity for community to get together.
No, man, I'm still impressed with the 300 sponsors and 4,000 registered attendees. That just lets me know the scale that we're talking about right now, and I love that. But with me right here live on The Splash, by the way, Words of Hope for Life Board President Glenn Schwartz and Words of Hope for Life Board President Sue Dumont, just talking about this upcoming mental health event that'll be happening at the Detroit Zoo, View Fest 2025, happening January 13th as well. Glenn, kind of getting back to you, I want to inquire about this, essentially this event-based community intervention, EBCI model that you all have going on. Can you just talk about this and how it drives mental wellness through collective experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So back when the organization was formed, the whole intent was, how do we make an impact that is one-to-many versus one-to-one? Therapy is not for everyone. It's not accessible to everyone. It's not affordable for everybody. So how can we make the largest impact to many people? And our way in doing that was addressing the mental health crisis through community, right? So mental health impacts people differently. The way that they resolve mental health crisis or issues is different for everybody. But what we do know definitively is that the more community connectiveness you have, the greater ability you have to overcome these obstacles. And so the event-based community intervention is our way of bringing community together, community organizations together to provide these resources to those that may need them. And what's really interesting about this is, as we've continued to grow, we hear more and more that different community organizations and community members want to participate simply because it seems to be a very cohesive and good model moving forward.
Right. Oh, man. Great work, great resources that you all are putting out there. We love that. Sue, inquiring with you, you spoke a little bit about the fact that we're here to pretty much accommodate from all different races, ages, religions, groups, and things of that nature. Are there any specific programming that's tailored for different audiences of different demographics that'll be there?
Well, as I mentioned before, it's all about inclusivity. And we have representation from probably every aspect that you could imagine. We do have a particular area that we have what we call Vibe with Pride. That's bringing in our LGBTQ plus community, along with other representation from different schools, from different organizations like Affirmations, Pre-Mom Hugs, Stand with Trans, to really make them feel inclusive, make it feel that they're part of a larger community and a safe place for them as well. I did want to mention something else too, that if I could take a little side note here.
Please.
What I neglected to mention before is that we are holding 2 world records, and typically at our events, we try to do something different and special every year. As you mentioned, we're doing Live in the Moment this year. In the previous years, we held 2 world records. One had to do with the longest line of postcards, and we had the entire community draw these and color on these postcards, give them back to us, and we lined them up at Walled Lake Central High School at our very first View Fest. And then we collected all those cards and we passed them out to the community, to nursing homes, orange services, overseas, to schools. So people felt a connection and knew that they counted, particularly during COVID. Going forward, the last world record that we did, which was last year, right at the zoo, was we trained the largest number of people on Narcan, which is the reversal spray for an opioid overdose. And that was pretty spectacular because it was a point of education. And there's a lot of people that are afraid to even learn about what is Narcan. I don't need to know about it. It was a safe environment and a great experience for everyone that participated in it. And at the end of that world record, when we did the training, we also gave out thousands of Narcan to everyone at the festival, which again, it will be available for everyone at the festival this year and going forward. We always have it available to hand out.
Oh, great. Another great resource that you all are providing, and we love that. You're pretty much covering a lot of bases when it comes to mental health right there, and we appreciate that. Don't want to hold you up too much longer. Just pretty much wrapping up, Glenn, if anyone is interested in supporting the event, volunteering, sponsoring, attending, just talk about the opportunities and how they can get more information.
Yeah, so some of the opportunities now are limited this year simply because the event is up in a few days. But if you go to viewfest2025.com, you can learn more. And shortly after the festival, we will be announcing already ViewFest 2026, and that information will also be up. So we're going to encourage the community and those that want to get involved next year to do so early on so that we can prepare accordingly. But again, if you want to learn more about this year, if you want to make a donation, all of the money that we receive towards ViewFest goes to ViewFest and goes to allowing additional people into the venue. We can only make it as large as the amount of donations we receive in sponsorships. So to the community, anything that is provided is greatly appreciated. You can also go to wordsofhopeforlife.com. It's the number 4 for additional information about the organization or ViewFest of past years.
Oh, my God. Thank you both so much. I'm so glad that we were able to get that information out to our audience as well. Once again, Words of Hope for Life Board President Glenn Swartz and Words of Hope for Life Board Member Sue Dumas. We appreciate you both.
Thank you
for having us.
Great opportunity for you to kind of go and not only just kind of get resources for mental health, but see other people and get other different perspectives regarding mental health. You can visit them on their website for more information, Words of Hope, the number 4 life.com for more. John Dennis is a contemporary artist showcasing abstract sculptural pieces made of cast resin glass-like media and featuring a vibrant color accent and distinctive textures. Very impressive, if I must say so myself. Dennis will be featured at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, and we actually took some time to speak to him about his art and what he wants people to take away from his artwork.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you with us. Really excited to hear about what you do. You can already see some of your work on our screen if you're watching on Civic Center TV. It looks beautiful. What inspired you to create these striking resin sculptures, and how do their forms reflect your artistic vision?
Sure. So my concept is basically snapshots in nature where they're whether it's water transforming into something else or basic forms in nature and what they do. So I try to keep it active as sculpture and then I sculpt it as though it's kind of in motion, and then the glass with the translucency allows me to allows the light to be a big part of the work, and that really pops the work and brings it to life.
Love it. Love seeing this great work and always love seeing this beauty. I mean, this is some of the best work I think we've seen so far here on the Splash Live, and we've seen some incredible things. Have you found that the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show audience responds differently to sculptural pieces compared to traditional paintings or drawings?
Well, good question, because this will be my debut to the area, so we will see. We will see. But I'm excited to find out.
Yes, I'd be excited too. I'm sure the audiences in West Bloomfield are going to love it. How does working with translucent materials and internal color layers influence what reactions you hope viewers will have?
Sure. I do this color spontaneously, but I always keep in mind the end result with the color combinations. And again, the form mixed in with the light. So different times of day, it looks differently in the sunlight. So I always keep that in mind. I try to use natural colors, the golds, the light blues, the dark blues, some of the salmon colors, and that just keeps it, again, in that natural kind of presence.
Awesome. All great things on display. And I'd imagine with a lot of these artwork that there's going to be some stories or emotions that you're hoping people take away from these artworks. What stories or emotions are you hoping to spark in the Greater West Bloomfield community when they encounter your work in person?
So I have a piece called Soleil, and initially I made that piece it was basically the Renaissance sundial that was in art for a long time, and I did it in half, and it actually it looks also like kind of like wings, but it's basically the radiance. It's a radiant element, and then I also have some water features that are again kind of the idea of rebirth, and so I try to I keep it in a positive form. Again, nature in transition and how that kind of connects us all. And I try to with the colors and that translucency to create, that mood of like you're a part of it. You're really in within the piece.
John Dennis joins us right now on the Splash Live, a contemporary artist showcasing several different forms of with cast resin and glass lake media, all of which is going to be on display at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in just a few short weeks. Now, as you said, this is your first time coming to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. How has becoming a part of this community and joining this incredible show influenced your creative development, and what do you hope the community takes away from your presence?
So I'm from Michigan, not too far away from there. Originally, I left very young, and so I'm kind of going back there and reintroducing myself with, all this new work. And I never showed my work when I was younger. I left there very young at 12. And so I really want to introduce myself to the community. And I think because I don't know, the Great Lakes were a big inspiration for me. And I spent a lot of time on Lake Michigan and in that whole area. And actually, I think I was inspired by that as a child. And now going back there is kind of really nice. It's a reunion of sorts.
Oh, I love that. That's always great to see, to come back to your roots and to showcase how you've grown and to showcase what you've learned along the way. I love hearing that. And I'd imagine with making these incredible artworks, it's a very intricate process. Can you share what a day in the studio looks like when crafting these complex pieces, especially regarding technique and material experimentation?
Sure. So first I start with, I carve and plaster. I use only hand tools, grinders, chisels, all basic, no computers. And from drawings, I'll create a piece. And then from that piece, I use it as an open face form, like a breakaway mold in a way. So it's a limited edition. And then, so I layer the glass, let it cool, and then I do the acrylic over that. So a day could entail one of those processes, but I work on multiple pieces in different stages through the day.
Interesting. Very, very great process. And I can't wait to see everything that you're going to have on display at the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show. Now, looking ahead, how do you envision your work continuing to evolve? And what types of collaborations would you love to bring to the West Bloomfield area?
Yeah, so I'm interested in also incorporating stainless steel, maybe working with a stainless steel artist and incorporating that into some public pieces. Right now I'm using some silver leaf, and it's working out really well. And if I kind of add a little bit of stainless with that, that could really be good. And that could also take the scale of my work even bigger and give it a whole different multimedia facet. So that could be something as well. And I'm playing with the idea of doing a show at a botanical garden, and I'm going to kind of introduce that into different cities, and we'll see how that goes.
Interesting. Love hearing your thought process. Can't wait to see what's to come in the future, and I can't wait to see you out at the show. John, before I let you go, one more quick question. When you see people at the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show, what do you hope is the most important thing that everybody takes away from your exhibit?
Okay, great question. So to see it in person is much more interesting, and there's more of you really sense the piece versus just a photograph. So people can just see it in person, and I think that will help them understand what it does in light. And I can also I always talk about my process at the shows. So that'll be part of it too.
Awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, so it's really different people ask different questions, so there's not one spiel. It's always, I try to personalize it according to the question, and it's a good time because I also meet the community, and it's always good to see people excited about the work.
Everyone is going to be very excited when they're out at the art show, and they're going to be even more excited once they see the incredible work that you have to offer. John, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you.
Once again, the Orchard Lake Fine Arts Show will be in West Bloomfield on July 26th and 27th. Find out more about the event at hotworks.org. The Gregory Kelser Youth Basketball Camp is West Bloomfield's summer staple, considering a key part of youth sports culture. We recently talked to Mr. Greg Kelser to give us more details on the event and the history behind the camp. Mr. Gregory Kelser, thank you for being here, Mr. Kelser, Special K.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, okay, so I want to be honest. I just want to have a conversation with you now. I've had you on, talked to you before. 46 years, am I reading this right? 46 years you've been doing this? Why? What's the motivation?
This is actually our 48th year. We started in 1978 at the West Bloomfield Jewish Community Center. It was you said 1977. You're not totally off there. Actually, it was in 1977 that I worked the Dick Vitale Bob Lanier basketball camp at West Bloomfield High School. And I came away from that feeling like I could do it too. Gotcha. I was 20 years old when I did my first camp, and I've been doing them ever since. It's been really gratifying to know that maybe in some small way we've had impact on people now that are 60 years old, if I will, if you will. Yeah, because it's been that long. My first camp, I was 20. My oldest campers were 15, so they're just, a few years younger than me now. But that's the legacy. And, it's really nice to hear them say, well, you know what, I remember you doing this, or you saying this, and, it helped change my attitude towards education or, work ethic and having a good attitude. So that's what the camp is really all about. We teach a lot of basketball, but we also like to take pride in the life skills that we're able to extend as well.
And I want to ask you about that as well. That's good that you brought that up. By the way, the camp will be held July 21st through the 25th, if I'm not mistaken, 9 a.m., 2:30 p.m., West Bloomfield High School, boys and girls aged 7 to 17. Now, I want to ask you about that. 7 to 17 seems like a very random number, but why specifically those ages of 7 to 17?
Well, 7 will include kids that are in the second grade, and 17 will include kids that are probably moving into their senior years of high school. And when you've got a facility as big and as nice as the West Bloomfield High School, then you can have the adequate separation. The young kids are with the young kids, the older kids are with the older kids, and they don't intersect, they don't get in each other's way, and everybody comes away feeling fully fulfilled, and again feeling like they have been able to get the individual attention that they might need. We pride ourselves on that as well with a wonderful 10-to-1 coach to camper ratio, 1 coach to every 10 campers.
Okay.
And
nice.
And it's a good mix. It's a really good mix. It's proven to be really beneficial, we see, for the youngsters, the boys and girls. And that's the other thing, sometimes the girls will play with the guys if they feel they're good enough. And we've had some camps where the girls are really, really starved.
Let's go.
The guys. But typically, we try to keep everybody in their skill level. That's the thing, okay. your skill level.
Interesting. Rather than just dividing them up by girl and boy skill level. I love that, regardless, because it kind of helps everybody stay sharp as well. Couple other things I want to ask you about. We talked about the off-court, some of the factors in regards to that and some of those skills. What do you believe is the most important off-the-court lesson that you give to your campers?
That their education is essential. This is something I learned from my parents, who were 100% behind my athletic endeavors. But they constantly preached to me how all of those are privileges, but that the education aspect is essential, and it's the one thing that will carry me the furthest. And, they were talking about it, even if I were to go on and play professional sports, I wouldn't be able to do it forever, and your education will come into play at some point. They were exactly right.
Yeah.
And all of my coaches, we all have gone the path. I have some coaches who played in the NBA, others who played college basketball, many of whom coach now in some aspect of basketball, be it AAU or high school or recreationally. So they know the game, but they also know how important it is to develop the entire individual and not just the athletic part of a child. I am a staunch supporter of having a great attitude and the work ethic that you put into being a good basketball player or a good athlete. You must exceed that effort and have even greater determination in the classroom on a daily basis. That's your job right now, first and foremost.
Yep, and it means so much more coming from a professional like yourself, Mr. Kelser, and we appreciate you for providing that opportunity and that information. One thing out of my personal curiosity I want to ask, the WNBA announced the expansion in the city of Detroit, possibly the return of the Shock. How do you feel about that, your initial reactions? How do you feel like that will impact the youth girls basketball in the Metro Detroit area as well?
Well, I think it's wonderful. I remember when I was in high school, I used to help out with the girls' team, myself and two of my teammates. We did it for two reasons. We did it so that we could stay in the gymnasium. And we also had great interest in the girls and their progress and learning the game. And the game has come so very far since then. Yeah. And I've actually called a lot of WNBA games myself as a broadcaster, including the WNBA finals in 3 different years. So I have a great appreciation for the game and the opportunities that it provides for young girls who can now, like the boys, aspire to be professional athletes and to be professional basketball players. I think it's wonderful.
Correct.
And it's great to have the Shock back here because you cannot write or tell the WNBA's history up to this point without
the Shock. Let's go.
Having serious chapter or two about the success of the Detroit Shock when they were here, 10 or so, 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and my coworkers talk about it all the time, man. It's written stone in history, and true Detroit fans know all about it. Hey, Mr. Kelser, we're short on time, but we appreciate you so much. Wish we could ask you more, but thank you again for being here and for your time. Once again, Mr. Gregory Kelser talking about his basketball camp that will be held at West Bloomfield High School, July 21st through the 25th, 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. for girls and boys ages 7 to 17. Thank you again so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, and you do a great job too. Congratulations.
You want to get more information on the Greg Kelser basketball camp, go directly to his website, GregoryKelser.com for more. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Civic Center TV. I've been your host, Kevin McIntosh. Per usual, we are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.